Like this communist from New York someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York.
U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to cut federal funding for New York City if favored mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani doesn't behave himself, should he win the November 4 elections. The Republican leader, however, argued that Mamdani's victory was inconceivable because he is a pure communist candidate. Let's say this: if he does get in, I'm going to be president and he is going to have to do the right thing, but they're not getting any money. He's got to do right thing. It's shocking that I would have assumed that. I used to say we will never have a socialist in this country. No, but we'll have a communist. I mean, he's a communist. He's going to be mayor of New York, Trump said during an interview with Fox News. Trump, who grew up in New York and built his sprawling real estate business there, said Mamdani's victory is very bad for the city. 33-year-old Mamdani also took to the talk shows on June 29th, asserting he would absolutely maintain New York's status as a sanctuary city so that New Yorkers can get out of the shadows and into the full life of the city that they belong to. The Indian origin leader, meanwhile, denied he was a communist, as labeled by Trump.
Like this communist from New York someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York, but the rest of the country is revolting against it. But if somebody got elected, they're afraid that if this was taken off, well, we're going to guarantee it's never going to be taken off.
Asked directly on NBC's Meet the Press whether he is a communist, he said, "No, I am not. And I have already had to start to get used to the fact that the president will talk about how I look, how I sound, where I'm from, who I am, ultimately because he wants to distract from what I'm fighting for," Mamdani said. "I'm fighting for the very working people that he ran a campaign to empower, that he has since then betrayed." Mamdani, 33, has yet to secure endorsements from the biggest Democratic officials. The New York City mayoral election will take place on November 4th, 2025.
We made history. In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. My friends, we have done it. I will be your Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City. I spoke with Andrew Cuomo about the need to bring this city together, as he called me to concede the race. And I want to thank Brad Lander. Together we have shown the power of the politics of the future. One of partnership and of sincerity. Today, 8 months after launching this campaign, with the vision of a city that every New Yorker could afford. That's right. We have won. We have won from Harlem to Bay Ridge. We have won from Jackson Heights afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. One where those who toil in the night can enjoy the fruits of their labor in the day. Where hard work is repaid with a stable life. Where 8 hours on the factory floor or behind the wheel of a cab is enough to pay the mortgage. It is enough to keep the lights on. It is enough to send your kid to school. Where rent-stabilized apartments are actually stabilized. Where buses are fast and free. Where childcare doesn't cost more than CUNY. And where public safety keeps us truly safe. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism. From deporting our neighbors. And to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party. A party where we fight for working people with no apology. A life of dignity should not be reserved for a fortunate few. It should be one that city government guarantees for each and every New Yorker. If this campaign has demonstrated anything to the world, it is that our dreams can become reality. Dreaming demands hope. And when I think of hope, I think of the unprecedented coalition of New Yorkers that we have built. For this is not my victory. This is ours. It is the victory of the Bangladeshi auntie who knocked on door after door until her feet throbbed and her knuckles ached. It is the victory of the 18-year-old who voted in their first ever election. And it is the victory of the Gambian uncle who finally saw himself and his struggle in a campaign for the city that he calls home. Dreaming demands solidarity. And when I look out at this room and out onto the midnight skyline, that is what I see. Canvas launches that continued in the pouring rain. Children who called parents. Strangers who care about those they will never meet. A New York that believes in each other and in itself. This is solidarity. And it defines our victory. And above all, dreaming demands work. Last Friday night, as the sun began to drop in the sky, I set off on a 13-mile walk from the northernmost tip of Manhattan to the base of the island. We began in Inwood, where music played and neighbors set out dominoes on the sidewalk. It was 7 p.m. The weekend had arrived. For most people, the time for work was over. But this is New York, where the work never ends.